It was a stormy night, and I found myself alone at home. My parents were attending an urgent out-of-town conference, and my older brother was away on a camping trip with his friends. Being left home alone was nothing new for me, but something felt different this time. The eerie howling of the wind outside sent chills down my spine, and the darkness that enveloped the house seemed more suffocating than ever before. To distract myself from the unsettling atmosphere, I decided to binge-watch a series on Netflix. The bright screen offered some comfort in the darkness, but every creak and groan of the old house made me jump. I tried to convince myself that it was all in my head, but as the hours passed, the unease only grew. Midway through an episode, the power flickered and then abruptly went out, plunging the house into darkness. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my phone's flashlight. I stood up, feeling a peculiar sensation that I was not alone. The flashlight's beam cast eerie shadows on the walls, and I tried to laugh off my irrational fear. But as I made my way through the darkened house, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every sound seemed magnified, and my heartbeat thundered in my ears. I reached the kitchen and attempted to find some candles or matches, but my trembling hands made it difficult. Suddenly, a chilling gust of wind swept through the room, extinguishing the small flashlight. My heart skipped a beat as I stood in complete darkness, paralyzed by fear. Then I heard it, a soft whisper that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. "Find me." The voice was faint, almost like a distant echo, but it sent shivers down my spine. I called out, "Who's there?" But there was no reply. The house remained silent, but the feeling of being watched intensified. Summoning all my courage, I managed to find a box of matches and lit a few candles. Their dim glow provided little comfort as the shadows seemed to dance and shift in response to the flickering flames. I decided to retreat to my room, hoping that the safety of my personal space would ease my anxiety. However, as I ascended the stairs, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, but there was no one there. The sense of being followed became overpowering, and I rushed into my room, locking the door behind me. Inside the room, the air grew cold, and a pervasive sense of dread filled the space. My eyes were drawn to the mirror, and what I saw chilled me to the bone. The reflection staring back at me was distorted, with dark, hollow eyes and a sinister grin that I knew did not belong to me. Terrified, I stumbled back, and the image in the mirror shifted back to my own reflection. Was it just my imagination playing tricks on me, or was something malevolent trying to communicate with me through the mirror? Feeling a sudden urge to escape, I grabbed my phone and dialed my brother's number. No answer. Panic washed over me as I tried my parents' number, but they were out of reach too. The storm outside raged on as if the world itself was conspiring against me. I huddled in a corner of my room, clutching the phone like a lifeline. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking just beyond my door. I heard soft whispers, unintelligible and haunting, seeping through the cracks in the walls. Determined to confront my fear, I mustered the courage to open the door. The hallway outside was shrouded in darkness, and the whispering grew louder. I took a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly, a chilling laugh echoed through the house, sending a cold shiver down my spine. "Come find me," the voice taunted, its eerie tone echoing through the empty halls. With each step, the house seemed to change around me. The walls twisted and contorted, and the once familiar rooms became an incomprehensible maze. It was as if the house itself had come alive, feeding off my fear. I stumbled upon a room that I had never seen before, a small, dusty space with an old, ornate mirror. The glass was cracked, and the reflection staring back at me was not my own. Instead, it was a grotesque and malevolent figure with bloodshot eyes and a wicked grin. The figure beckoned for me to come closer, and I felt an irresistible pull. My body moved on its own accord, drawn towards the sinister presence in the mirror. But as I approached, I caught a glimpse of movement behind me, shadows that seemed to detach themselves from the walls and floor. The terror consumed me, and I ran. I ran as fast as my legs could carry me, not knowing where I was going or what I was running from. The house seemed to shift around me, the walls closing in, and the whispers growing louder and more insistent. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, the front door burst open, and my brother stood there, drenched from the rain. He had returned early from his camping trip, sensing that something was wrong. He found me trembling in the corner of the living room, the house now eerily still and silent. I tried to explain what had happened, but the words sounded like gibberish even to me. My brother comforted me, dismissing it as a result of my imagination and the storm playing tricks on my mind. He assured me that everything would be fine now that he was home. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent had lingered in the empty house that night, something that fed off fear and thrived on the terror of the home alone gone wrong. As the storm raged on outside, I couldn't help but wonder if I had truly escaped the clutches of whatever haunted that place, or if it had merely retreated, biding its time until another opportunity to strike again.